Sponsored by Type A. Hey, welcome to another episode of a podcast. Your host, Steve Maxton. Episode 143, Race Day Secrets, what no one talks about. We're just going to talk about stuff in general. In case you're wondering, this is me in the backdrop here. Captured swimming underwater with, I think we're using like a 360 cam that day for training. But diving into today's episode, we're just going to talk through marathons, triathlons, stuff. I get actually quite a few questions about this personally, so I figure we get the platform. Let's make some content about it. We've had some guests on before. We've chatted about this. We might even specifically get some other triathletes on here to talk about their experiences and stuff. So got a bit of a laundry list over here. As you know, I'm usually using chat kind of as my assistant on these episodes in general. So let's roll with it. First of all, I just want to say, like, getting into any of this stuff, you're like a 30-minute run. I call it like the 5K gateway drug to getting into running marathons, or a half marathon is only, a 5K, a 10K is 2 5Ks, and a half marathon is basically just 2 10Ks or 4 5Ks. So you're basically there when you math it out for training and stuff like that. So I've used that expression before. It's literally happened to me when I've run out of interest in running for periods of time, and then I'll go and do a 5K, and I'm like, this is actually pretty sweet, and then becomes like an addiction. So a good one, a healthy one. So that's, I guess, even laying the land here. Half marathon is 21.1, full marathon 42.2. Talk about some average times in the mix of stuff here. We'll also talk diet, laundry, chafing, and stuff that goes through your head when you're running these races, or goes through mine anyways. I actually haven't talked about this out loud with folks before. I didn't really vet this. I'm just going for it. So yeah, let's go through some average stats here. Like full marathon, so that's 42.2 kilometers. I haven't done one of those yet. I've only done halves. Right, Steve, like that's short. Anyways, but for the 42.2 here, average finish times are around 4 hours for men and women. Like men are 4 hours 10 minutes, women 4 hours 40 minutes. Elite runners basically cut that in half, which is absolutely insane. But like just over the 2 hour mark. World records are at 2 hours, which is just wild. That's like, I'm doing that for a half marathon, like how they're doing double the speed. And then half marathon average is actually like around, I guess I'm average. Elite is like an hour. So again, like double the speed of myself. Triathlons, there's a few different things in here. So I'm just going to run through like distances. This is something just like 101 triathlons. So sprint distance, 750 meter swim, 20K bike, 5K run. Olympic distance is double that. So 1.5 kilometer swim, 40K bike, 10K run. Ironman 70.3 or a half Ironman is a 1.9 kilometer swim, 90K bike, and a half marathon or a 21.1 kilometer run. And a full Ironman is double that. So a 3.8 kilometer swim, 180 kilometer bike, and a 42.2 run. So that is wild. Usually takes people like an entire day, like a 12-hour window here. So yeah, and those are just kind of like 1, 2, 3 on those things. Now let's run in through some diet stuff. Just in general, when I started training for some of these, it's just your diet. Like obviously diet wants to be dialed in, but I find one of the hardest things is actually eat enough during the day. A lot of the time I found I was like doubling down on dinners, which is like super funny. Be like, I'm actually on my second like full dinner, because I usually train first thing in the morning, have breakfast, do a little bit of a lunch during my day, but usually I'm traveling around for work or the businesses or type A. So then come dinner time, I usually train again, and I usually have like one dinner, but then I usually get like hungry again at like 9 at night, and I will absolutely crush another full dinner. Try to have lots of protein. You have to, in my opinion, you got to fit in the carbs in there too, whatever those carbs look like. A lot of time it's potatoes, frankly, for me doing barbecues and stuff like that. And it's just like a volume of food that you didn't realize how you could consume, but you're also burning so many calories. You have to like, one of my hacks, and I mean, I got into buying these like blocks, whatever, no ad here. These like block things or whatever, they have a little bit of nutrients and they're basically candies though. But they've like added in some vitamins to them. So to replenish some of your stuff, I'll usually eat those like on the go. But for a little bit, I was just having Sour Patch Kids in little bags. I made a little joke. They're just like my like go-to little snack bag thing on a ride or a run. I would say, I don't know, just as effective. Sometimes I bring a banana on a longer ride in terms of getting some like instant carbs, some sugar and stuff that way. But it's just like you're eating an extreme amount of food because you're burning a lot of calories and you don't want your body to break down. So I ended up maintaining like pretty close to around 200 this entire season, actually. Normally I cut, but I continue doing weights throughout it. Which I didn't change weight. I certainly changed shape, aesthetic wise. So just like tighter, more V shape on that end of things. Lots of swimming, but then lots of heavy weights along the journey too. But I found that helped a ton in terms of like knee or hip pain. Like other years when I've cut weight down to like a 185 mark for me personally, about 10, 15 from my kind of like standard issue weight that I've been kind of floating around for a few years in the adult life here. And I often found my knees would be sore, probably just because of, not pushing as much weight around is my best guess. And also started walking with weighted vests when I walk my dog. I think that helped actually like quite a bit. I joked about it for a bit, but just having that little extra weight and having to like manage that stability as you're walking just side to side and stuff. Yeah, seemed to do really well for me. So I'm going to stick to that routine in following years there. Sorry, just coming off a workout here and I'm doing this episode. But diet, huge. I don't even know if I want to get into more details on that. Otherwise, I was having like double dinners and a ton of eggs in my training and my experience and stuff. Actually, I'm just starting to work with a dietitian coming up here for some other training. So that's going to be exciting to actually have that more dialed in than just trusting my gut on some stuff there. So laundry, the other thing that no one talks about, the excessive amount of laundry that I found that I end up doing when I'm training for stuff, because you're doing like 2 workouts a day. You got to have at least 5 kits on this on the biking side of things. And my at least that, I mean, I think I have like probably closer to like 20 or something stupid now, but because you need to have at least the 5 for the weekdays and maybe a couple for like the weekend for like longer rides, plus your rotation of other stuff in the laundry. But the kits are super important. Anyone getting into this, I had a friend just asked me the other day, hey, like, what would you recommend for a bike? I am probably the worst person to ask like any recommendations on a bike. I basically look for it to be comfortable. I end up usually upgrading my seat right away. And then I basically am going for like the size of it and color and weight, but I usually get help from a local bike shop here to help with that. But the kit thing is kind of a non-negotiable. It's a padded outfit. Everyone's probably seen them, probably laughed at them. If you're not into cycling, you're like, oh my gosh, look at these psychos in these like, what are they? Is it Lycra? Yeah, Lycra suits. So like spandex stuff. It's got a padded seat under in the seat of it, we'll say, under your little bits and your butt, and that will save your life. I'll just say that much. I started biking without one when I first got into cycling or road biking specifically. I didn't realize all the benefits that were there, but you can risk hurting yourself, male or female. Just it's in a sensitive area and you don't want to do that. So I'd recommend doing that right away. Get a kit, make sure you're getting the right size and stuff there, but talk to experts or read some stuff up on that, see what'll fit you best on your body type. And yeah, you probably have to get multiples of those as you're getting into it. I know sometimes you see those memes where it's like, day 1 of getting into cycling and then like day like 30 and it's like the helmet, the glasses, the kit, the whatever, the headphones, the gels, the everything. And you'll pretty soon figure out that you need a lot of this stuff if you're going for longer rides just to replenish energy on the whatever snacking side of things there, as I mentioned. Partly nutrition, but laundry, very important. You're probably going to want multiple kits, multiple bathing suits, multiple sets of shorts, socks, or running socks, all that other stuff that you get into as you're doing this in the triathlon training anyway, specifically. On that note of padded seats, and a good segue to the next topic being chafing. No one likes it. No one talks about it enough. On the front end, it's always like, oh, I got this pain in this area of my body now after a race, whether it be a run or a tri, it doesn't matter. It can happen either way. It's happened. We use loose areas here to describe this, but don't be shy with going and there's like these either use Vaseline or these other products that you can get for like specifically for chafing in these different areas and stuff like that. For guys, in my personal experience, it's like either nips, just rubbing on a shirt, colder temperatures. We're not used to this stuff. We don't think about it. We're not wearing typically I've heard from ladies that sports bra helps a lot here. You're not getting the same irritability. Chains, if you're wearing a chain though, I would recommend longer runs in general, don't let it bounce around. I did this during the half iron. It was gross and miserable, but I was incredibly sweaty coming off of the bike, and I already felt chafing downstairs. I didn't reapply down there for before the run, so I knew I was managing that. I didn't even think of my chain bouncing on my chest, and by the time I was done the race, got out, and I would say always worth the reapply. I cannot express this enough, especially if it is like a half iron, even an Olympic distance, depends on how sweaty and like stuff flowing off on the bike or whatever, might not be a bad idea. Grab some goop, slap it down there. Got off of the finished the iron pretty strong. Didn't feel anything, like I said, as far as the chain went, right away anyways, but downstairs when we were taking off like the kit and just being like seeing blood, and I didn't want to look at it. So I want to go have a beer, celebrate with some of the other athletes or whatever after the race. So I didn't even look at it right away, but I remember hopping in the shower after the race and being like literally hopping out of the shower in severe pain from both water hitting downstairs. And then I turned around to kind of avoid whatever body position it was. And all of a sudden the shower water hit my chest. And I didn't realize that because my chain had been bouncing off my chest. So word to the wise here, don't do that. Had cut through my chest, like in a couple areas here, just from it bouncing back and forth. Totally makes sense. It probably been, bouncing obviously like the whole way. Other times when I'm in like half marathons, my shirt's usually like covering it up. So it's not moving around. But when I undid my tri-suit, it was willy-nilly out there flapping around and cut through my chest in a couple areas here. So it takes a few days to get through that. And I just say, yeah, look into doing that even for your training. I have a little bit like thicker legs from playing hockey over the years and stuff like that. So applying any kind of this, like I said, this, but I wish I would have grabbed it. Actually, it's just in the washroom here, but whatever this like chafing butter stuff is, looks like a little deodorant stick. Great to throw it on like the chest and between the legs there. Use Vaseline if you really got like bigger area to cover. That's my hot tip. Maybe save someone some pain and suffering. Last point to be made here is just some comments from myself personally. I know other people think the exact same thing because I recently was in a little race and they were like making these comments or whatever, but it's something that got in my own head when I was doing the half iron this summer in Calgary specifically, but I've done it in other races too, because sometimes there's different distances and you're not exactly sure when you're on the run, like if someone else is in your like age category and are they doing like the sprint distance or the Olympic, because the Olympic starts first, so you could be coming back at the same time someone's done the sprint, and you're kind of trying to like gauge, because you want to try to place ultimately. If you're kidding yourself, I think, if you've been doing it for a little bit and you're not trying to improve obviously, but like get kind of in the top three, or at least top in like your age category and stuff like that. So you're always kind of like eyeing up these different things, and you're going through this stuff, and all the time I'm like, well, they don't look like they're almost like in better shape than me. There's no way that they're ahead of me, and I caught myself in the Ironman anyways being like, oh, like these people must be on their second lap. They're super like lean and fit. Like there's no way that they're ahead of me. So I was of this mindset like, oh, like I'm way behind, and like I just saw like a bunch of people in by my edge category, I'm way behind them kind of thing. Meanwhile, they were just starting their first lap, and I was like almost done they were just starting their first lap, and I was like almost done my first lap, thinking that they were on their second lap or whatever. But then it turned out when I was there was 2 loops that you had to do of this one thing there. So by the time I was coming back around again, and I kind of crossed paths, there's a couple areas where you do that. They were still there, and I was like, oh, I don't know why I doubted myself in terms of like my own ability, just on a simple looks thing. You don't know everyone's like race day nutrition, how much they've been training. Just because someone is slighter than you doesn't mean that they're going to be beating you on any part of the race, in whether it be a run or a triathlon and stuff. And really, we shouldn't be doing that as athletes. We should just be happy that we're out there and being able to perform. But it's something that definitely runs through my head. Also, just like the constant like don't shit yourself out here on the course moments. When you take some of these like gummies and stuff, you don't realize, and that's why I train like doing them and stuff, because they can hit your stomach pretty hard. So that is always the thing, like finish the race, don't blow a tire, and don't shit yourself on the triathlon. The triple threat is, if you will, of that end of things there. It's something that I know runs through mine. I'm sure it runs through other people's heads too. So yeah, that's kind of stuff that goes through my head on race day. Also, just finish, have fun, try to keep it positive, and just keep going is the other part of that. Don't stop moving partway through the brain here. But that's everything on marathons, triathlons. Needed to get this episode out there. So thanks for listening. And that concludes another episode of a podcast. Cheers.